I'm Malcolm Horn, Chief Behavioral Health Officer at Rimrock Foundation, a full continuum treatment center in Billings, Montana. ACEs are adverse childhood experiences, a measurable way to look at how do adversity in childhood impact ourselves as adults. So really being able to recognize that our life is continuous and that where we are today is a direct result of who we were in the past. And when you're a child and you grow up in a setting that might have a lot of trauma, neglect, adversity, we recognize now that there are true medical, measurable, quantifiable points that happen. And so it really helps people understand more about why they are the way they are as adults and helps us understand how we got there. If we could better address ACEs, we would see a decrease in people who are incarcerated, general involvement in the criminal justice system. We'd see a decrease in the incidence of people with mental health and substance use issues. Addressing ACEs in a better way would change so many things. When I talk to somebody about ACEs and they've never heard of it, they don't know what it is, you can sometimes see this light bulb come on. Oh, that's why I am the way I am. I sometimes see this almost physical shame being lifted because they understand that, okay, the way I am, the way I think, the way I operate, what I do is logical given my past, given what I experienced as a child. It makes sense that I am this way. And I see it not only for the individuals who might have had a lot of adverse childhood experiences, but also as their loved ones, when their loved ones can go, oh, that makes sense as to why you act the way you act. Not that it ever excuses bad behavior, but it helps us as humans to have better empathy and understanding for why someone is the way they are. Children's brains and adult brains are very different. In childhood, toddlerhood, infancy, areas of the brain that are wiring and firing are how we communicate and trust and integrate with the world around us. And so if I'm a child and the areas of my brain that are supposed to be growing and developing are how I learn communication, trust, self-soothing, communicating my emotions, knowing my emotions. And if there's a trauma or lots of little traumas that happen during that time, my brain is not going to develop and evolve the way it should because it's not in a setting where it can learn safety and consistency and structure. If you've ever raised a small child, they like to have things be consistent. They like routine, they like structure. And when their life is chaotic, high ACE score parents that have substance use issues or mental health issues, or there's physical neglect, their brain doesn't worry about those things. It just wants to survive. So it's why a lot of times I'll have an adult patient who looks like they're in survival mode. It's because their brain evolved and grew to just be in survival, not to learn those other things like safety and honesty and connection and trust and those other things that you learn as you develop. So a child's brain is going to process trauma differently. And one of the things that I see quite often is children will have an adverse experience. As an adult, that experience might not be that big of a deal. But as a kid, they're powerless. If I'm an adult and I'm in a violent or unsafe situation, I have a little bit more ability to leave. A child is powerless. They don't have that ability to necessarily remove themselves from that situation. And so automatically there's this sense of powerlessness and inability to really feel okay. And that's often why we see acting out behaviors in children. They are trying to say, hey, I'm not okay. But their brain doesn't have the ability to really put those into words and put it out there. So they act out, they have behavior issues. So it's often behavior issues in kids that we see more than them saying, I'm scared or I'm not safe or I'm unhappy. They don't necessarily say those things. Children look to adults. They look to adults to guide and mentor them and really show them how to be an adult. And so if I grew up in an environment where the caregivers, the adults in my life are maybe not safe, and then I have a coach or a teacher or a church group or some other set of adults, I can start to learn, my brain can start to go, oh, there's a different way to do things. But really what they need is safety and kindness and love. And they need those other things that theoretically they should be getting from their primary caregivers, and they don't always. And so it really doesn't have to be therapy as much as it's any place or person that gives them that sense of safety and trust and gives them that sense that, hey, kiddo, you matter. That's what kids need. And so often that's through therapy. Therapists can often help people kind of navigate those confusing emotions and how it's impacted them. And counselors are skilled and trained to give people coping tools to teach them, hey, when you feel this way, this is what you can do to feel better. And so therapy can be very helpful because we're actually trained to do that. But truly, any place where a kid can learn safety and consistency and that they are loved and important is really what they need. And even as adults, we need that. As adults, we need a sense of safety, and we need to feel loved, and we need to feel appreciated. And what I say all the time to people is that life is about what are your needs and how do you get them met. Now, as an adult, it might be a little bit easier for me to get my needs met. I'm an adult. I have a job. I can go buy things. I can do the things I need to do. Kids can't necessarily do that. They're powerless. They're in that setting. And so then it's about teaching the kid, okay, this is what you need. How can you effectively get that need met? Right? I need to feel respect. I need to feel love. Okay, kiddo, who in your world can help you do that? And then theoretically too, the adults, whether it's a coach or a teacher or a therapist, can also help, if need be, get that kid out of that situation to get them someplace healthier and safer. There are lots of things that providers, teachers, anyone can do to help people that might be struggling with ACEs. First would be validating their feelings, validating their experience. It might not be understandable, it might be confusing, but I think the first step is validating their experience, letting them know that, hey, that sounds uncomfortable. It seems like you're really upset right now. It seems like you're frustrated. Is there anything I can do to help you? Really just being open to that. And then, of course, if need be, referring them to someone who is skilled to help them work through those behaviors and those feelings. On the adult side, I have had several patients that had a high ACE score, and they get this label borderline personality disorder or antisocial personality. Maybe they have also a trauma diagnosis, but no one has really sat down and helped them understand why they are the way they are, that their brain didn't develop with this safety and consistency that it really needed in order to develop in the proper way. And when people understand that, they can start to learn and trust sometimes their treatment team in the same way that they maybe should have been able to trust their family of origin. And so in some ways you get to see almost like reparenting, like a re-child development, because the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old, the 40-year-old can go, oh, I'm safe right now. This treatment team cares about me. This counselor or whoever it is, they care about me. And I can learn self-regulation. I can learn to effectively get my needs met. It can be very profound, which is, again, why I think this is such an important topic for us all to know about. I feel like at the end of the day, that's our purpose, is to make other people's lives better. If we are blessed and fortunate enough to be in a place where all of our needs are met, I do feel like it's an obligation to pay it forward, so to speak. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to help other people's lives be better? So that's just been the way I roll.
To take this course and learn about others, click on the link in the description and subscribe to this channel.